I'm a celebrity and personal stylist, and here are my top trends for 2025. This look is done. Instead, we're seeing a lot of statement necklaces, like actually kind of like the one I'm wearing today, and also the one that is pictured here. We're gonna be seeing vintage coins, big chunky gold chains, a lot of beading. I think a big statement piece is coming.
Coins are cool. I had never really thought about coins in the context of fashion, but chunky necklaces, we like a little thickums, you know? And for sure, vintage. Also, very much going back to that whole personal style thing too. Because if you find a vintage something or other that you picked up, probably not a lot of other people got it, you know? It's unique. I'm different, you know?
I swear, every single time I say I'm gonna give up on thrifting, I find a vintage Coach bag. It's like reverse psychology, thrift god manipulation. I don't know.
Vintage Coach goes hard as One of Taylor's favorite bags that we recently picked up is a vintage Coach bag. We got it for like $250, something like that. The quality on that thing is immaculate. And it's like a really weird wasabi green color, like a little Shrek color, a little get out me swamp vibes, but I still with it. It's quite withable.
I don't know. This bag is pretty clean on the inside, but pretty dry on the outside, so let's see what we can do with her. I started off by cleaning her hardware, which had a ton of verdigris, so I wiped it down with a used dryer sheet. It really does the trick. Then I went in with some Brasso to polish her up. Here's a side-by-side comparison of polished and unpolished. Okay, now let's focus on the most important part, her leather. I'm using black saddle soap because she's a little bit discolored. I'm just lathering her up and then wiping her down with a damp cloth.
One of the things that has me most excited about vintage and taking old things again and incorporating them into your wardrobe is that we have to take care of things better. So that means like actually caring about your individual pieces, not wasting things and making them last longer, which leads to less pollution, less waste.
Almost forgot to introduce her. This bag is called the Legacy Zip in style number 9966. She first appeared in spring of 1997. She came in 6 different colors and retailed for $244. Okay, now that we've got introductions out of the way and we've cleaned up her leather, let's moisturize her with some leather CPR. I'm just massaging it in with my fingers, and then I'm gonna take a horse hairbrush and brush her out.
One of the other things that I really like about vintage is that there's a story with each piece. There's history there. And part of owning something like that, where you're like, this is a really nice thing, I was able to get it probably cheaper if it's secondhand, but I'm gonna take care of it, is you're building a relationship with the things that you own. And I think that that's actually really cool. And especially once you have something that actually is like, it's nice, it's meaningful, there's a story behind that. I feel like that's part of the joy of owning something nice, is the story that goes with it.
One of my favorite secrets about vintage fashion is that some of the best of it was made by department stores. This beautiful, perfect denim jacket I'm wearing here is 70s J.C. Penney, and them, along with Sears, made some of the most incredible vintage American clothing you can find out there today.
This is gonna sound very boomer, so heads up. They literally don't make clothes the way that they used to. So when you're shopping vintage, aside from giving something a second life, one of the things that you're also doing is you're getting something that's probably a higher quality, that's probably also gonna last you longer if you treat it right.
This specific jacket has an inch-perfect crop, is made of a lightweight selvage denim, and it has these wonderfully detailed snap buttons. The quality that you'll find on an item like this, or vintage Sears leather or wool jackets, dresses, shirts, and more, is comparable to high-end brands selling these same items for hundreds of dollars or more today. And that's because before the US based most of its economy on intellectual capital, we had massive garment-making labor unions.
Yeah, because also we've come to realize that like big fashion houses, they use a lot of underpaid slave labor, which is not a vibe. And one of the things that you're paying for when you buy those big label things is, aside from the status, is the care. Oh my God, I just went through puberty. Is the care that's supposed to go into it. How are you supposed to care about things if you're literally forced to make them?
Americans were paid decent wages to produce these clothes slowly, and they were made to be sold to average working Americans and last for decades. If you go look on eBay or anywhere now, you can find these items for ridiculously low prices and be guaranteed that they will last for years and years to come. I mean, they've already made it to 50 or older and they're still in great shape. My recommendations would be to look for blanket-lined jackets, selvage denim, and horsehide leather. More specifically, the Hercules line from Sears was made between 1908 and 1965 and made some of the best quality reproductions of American workwear.
I don't put the level of effort in that this guy clearly does. Going into old catalogs and shopping through and looking at what was made decades ago, that's so cool. Bro, I love the history. It's so juicy. You should take a bite out of it.
And of course, you can find great jeans, dresses, funky colored shirts, and so much more. If you're looking for high quality vintage clothing, you have.
Sustainability and ethics in fashion are going to be some of the hugest, the biggest, some of the biggest, most important, consequential things moving forward this year. We only buy the best clothes. But we realized, which, I mean, we keep realizing it, like, I don't know why, we're like, oh my god, I'm so surprised. Like, big fashion houses, not great for either the people working for them or the planet. But fashion is, I think, the second highest polluting industry behind like literal fossil fuels, which is crazy. And not just on the waste side of things in terms of, oh, you bought fast fashion, you throw it away because it falls apart, but also on the garment dyeing side of things. Like, we just don't see it because it's not here in the US. We just like pay for other people to deal with that problem. But there are entire rivers that are just completely dyed different colors because there are garment and textile factories, fabrication locations, just right there, right? Not great.
2025 trend predictions. I told you red is going to be everywhere. We'll see it like this, and especially this. I think capes and cloaks in general are going to be very in. We'll see the shorter version. I think these will be here to stay.
Oh shit! At first watching it, I was like, oh, red, I love red. I'm so excited it's gonna be in. I'm not excited anymore. That shit is too real, bro, that's crazy. I live in Texas. That's important because, we're getting closer and closer to The Handmaid's Tale. Feels bad. Fellas, PSA, I got a vasectomy a couple years ago. Best decision of my life. Well, maybe not the best, but like definitely one of them.
We're also going to see a lot of interesting headwear, and I think it's fun. This may not be everyone's favorite, but it's actually really good for sun protection. I think this look would be even better if we added a brooch and a statement ring. I'm glad to see that mesh bags will be back. Don't be afraid to dress up your cloak with a heel. Like for that.
Shit! Coming strong out the gate. But this will be huge, especially in 2025. It's already getting big. Upcycling has been around for a while, but I think that people are gonna get really into it, especially as one, things become more unaffordable, and two, we become more conscious of the impact of things on the environment. Upcycling is a great way to, one, cut costs, and two, prevent things from going, oh, what's up, Azula? Prevent things from going into the trash.
This is my invention that I'm hoping is going to change the billion-dollar industry that produces millions of tons of waste every single year.
I love this, and if you haven't watched the rest of his video, definitely go check it out. Modularity and being able to use things between different looks is actually such a cool concept and also way to just not waste. And I've mostly seen it in the tech space, but this is the first time I've seen it in the fashion space, which I think is really cool. But in things like phones, there was that push for a little bit for the fair phone, where the concept was, one, you know that everyone along the whole course of the production line of every part of this phone is being paid a fair wage. And two, if you have, say, for example, a camera module that you think is outdated. I just dropped my phone, what the fuck? But say, for example, everything about your phone is fine, you just want a new camera. That's the only reason you're upgrading to the next model. Instead of getting a whole new phone, you just get a new camera module and place that in. Building things so that they can be repaired with the intentionality that they're gonna be around for a long time is, one, I think gonna be great for this upcoming year, and two, I think is just the way that we should exist, period.
This is 6,000 kilos of clothes. How long do you think it takes to throw out this many clothes in Australia?
I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say 1 day.
Over 5 years?
Lower.
1 year.
No. You guys, you look fashionable.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, no. Guess how long it takes to throw out this many clothes in Australia? Have a guess.
A week? 2 days?
An hour. Lower.
Less than an hour? Jesus Christ.
Lower.
What?
10 minutes. This is 10 minutes worth. The whole of Australia throws this out every 10 minutes.
Wow. Wow. 10 minutes.
It all goes to landfill. Gone.
In 2025, we are poor. We are broke. We have no fucking money. So why are we gonna pay like hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on some shit that's literally built off of slave labor anyway? Nah. Dupes are very much in, but also just like cost conscious shopping. If we find a brand where we're like, they consistently put out good work and they're also not ridiculously fucking expensive, we're probably gonna buy that. But there's a large shift away from buying things because of the brand as opposed to now buying things because of the value, which is honestly probably how it should be.
In the news this week, the biggest thing that's happening in fashion is obviously luxury is breaking up with the culture. Fashion seems to be separating itself from the culture, streetwear, hip hop, and all of those things. Could assume that this is happening because maybe, the pendulum has swung with DE&I initiatives and brands. Companies are just tired of catering to a certain demographic. Assume that you're not completely wrong, but I do think there are some other factors at play that could definitely be the cause of this breakup.
I definitely think this is a two-way street. On the one hand, fashion companies or brands are probably tired of cosplaying as though they like care about either a certain group of people or about like just not being shitty generally. And secondly, I think people are also kind of breaking up with larger brands because they're tired of the same sort of behavior and frankly can't afford a lot of it and tired of paying for like what is becoming more shittily made.
The economy is not doing well. The super wealthy don't need to have ostentatious displays of their wealth. It's just not something that gets done. This could also be the reason why the emergence of quiet luxury is happening. Backlash to the flex era, hypebeast culture, and everything that has happened, the wealthy now want to distinguish themselves based on tailored quality items. Now, this is completely different from the era we just left, where in order to let people know that you're a part of some group or that you have wealth, you had to display it all over. Now, when this was embraced,
what I take that to mean is that people care more about how the garment is made, how well it's going to last now than they do the label on the garment.